Okay, in the last class, in the part 1, we discussed about the different types of excretory systems, that is uh, aminotelism, ureotelism, and uricotelism. Okay, and after that, we also discussed about the different types of excretory organs: protonephridia, okay, metanephridia, Malpighian tubules, okay, and coxal glands, green glands, antennary glands. Also, all we discussed in the part 1. In this part 2, we are going to discuss about the human excretory system. In our body, the human excretory system, it contains the following parts. So, in our body, it contains one pair of kidneys, yes, and one pair of ureters, single urinary bladder, and also single urethra. Okay. Apart from these parts, another, the endocrine gland also present on the above the kidneys, that is called adrenal gland. Adrenal gland also present on the above the kidneys. So this is not comes under the human excretory system, but this part also present. So one pair of kidneys are present, one pair of ureters, and single urinary bladder and single urethra. These are the parts present in the human excretory system. Now we will discuss about the kidneys. So our topic is the kidneys. Okay, so human kidneys, there are two kidneys are present: right kidney, left kidney. From the kidneys, ureter comes outside. This is the ureter comes outside, and single urinary bladder, and a single urethra. So this is the urinary bladder, and this is urethra. These are two are ureters. These two are ureters. Yes, this is kidney. This is right kidney. This is left kidney. Above the kidney, a gland is present. This is called adrenal gland. So triangle shaped gland. This is the endocrine gland. So this is adrenal gland. Coming to the right kidney and left kidney, right kidney is slightly somewhat lower than the left kidney. See here. So this is somewhat lower. Right kidney is somewhat lower than the left kidney because to give the space for the liver, to give space for the liver, the kidney, right kidney is somewhat lower than the left kidney. And coming to the kidney outermost covering here, the kidney, before going to outermost covering, we can see the length of the kidney. So the length of the kidney is 10 to 12 centimeters. 10 to 12 centimeters, and this is the diameter. Look at the width of the kidney, also diameter, you can see. The diameter of the kidney, it is 3 to 5 centimeters, and the thickness is approximately 3 centimeters thickness. Color is a reddish brown. Reddish brown color. Okay, there are two kidneys, right kidney and left kidney. Right kidney is somewhat lower than the comparing the left kidney, because to give the space for the so right, this is the right side. This is right side kidney somewhat below. So actually they present back side. They are present back side. Okay, location. Okay, next location where they are present. The two kidneys are located in between the T12 and L3. T12 and L3. T12 means here thoracic vertebrae. Thoracic vertebrae. Thoracic vertebrae. Okay, and means the 12th one means that's the last thoracic vertebrae and between the third lumbar vertebrae. So in between the last thoracic vertebrae and the third thoracic vertebrae, there is a location of the kidneys. Location of the kidney. Just we have to see where the location here. Suppose these are the vertebrae here. So this is the location of the vertebrae, suppose. Okay, we have different types of vertebrae along the length of the vertebral column. So basing on the location in the neck region, we are calling as cervical vertebrae. Cervical. In the chest region, ribs are present, so they are called thoracic. And after that, this is called lumbar vertebrae, and then sacral. Lastly, coccyx. So this is the location of the different types of vertebrae. Our kidneys are located. Suppose this is the last vertebrae, the 12th one, and the first L1, second L2, and third L3. Means in this area. So in this area, L1, L2, L3, and here 12th one. So T12 and L3, T12 and L3. In between these two means here last thoracic vertebra, the 12th one, and the third lumbar vertebra. In between the right and left kidneys are located, and these kidneys are also known as retroperitoneal. Retroperitoneal organs. In our body, only one organ, that is kidney, is retroperitoneal. So the peritoneal layer is absent at the back side of the kidneys, and where parietal peritoneum is present. Parietal peritoneum is present in the front region, so that is called retroperitoneal organs. So this is the one of the retro means reverse. That is called the reverse one. Okay, so kidneys are known as retroperitoneal organs. Retroperitoneal organs. So that is the location. And color. So just now discussed here, the length, width, diameter or thickness. Color is reddish brown. Location is here. Okay. Okay. Next here. Okay. If you see the shape of the kidney is bean shaped. So it looks like a bean seed, bean shaped. Okay, and the outermost covering The outermost covering is known as capsule. It's called capsule. So, and here this is the convex. This is the convex side, and this is concave side. Concave side. So this concave side, there is a opening into the kidney. This is the called opening. This opening is known as hilum. So the opening of the kidney in the concavity, the kidney has a small opening. Small opening is there. That opening is known as hilum. Okay, we will discuss the next one here. So coming to the, see here, this is the kidney. Okay, this is known as opening. This is hilum. Hilum. Outermost covering is called the capsule. And if you cut open inside the kidney, there are two parts are present. There are two parts are there. The outermost part in the inside the kidney, the outermost part is called cortex. It's called cortex. Middle, the portion is called medulla. So middle portion is called medulla, and outermost is called cortex. And the medulla, come to the medulla. Medulla is in the form of a triangle structures. See here. So the medulla is in the form of triangle structures, and these triangle structures are known as renal pyramids. So these are known as renal pyramids. They are known as renal pyramids. So outermost is the cortex. This portion is called cortex portion. This is cortex, and inside medulla is in the form of medullary renal pyramids. And the cortex in between suppose here 1, 2, 3, 4 medullary pyramids are there. In this between these two medullary pyramids, the cortex enters inside and make a column like structure. See, like this. So the cortex enters in between the two medullary pyramids and make a column. This column is known as renal columns, also known as columns of Bertini. Columns of Bertini. They are known as the columns of Bertini. So this is the, see here once again, the vertical section, also called LS, longitudinal section of the kidney, shows the two portions. First portion is cortex, and second portion is called medulla, the middle one. The opening is called hilum. Medulla is in the form of medullary pyramids. The triangle shaped structures are called renal pyramids, also called medullary pyramids. They are also known as medullary pyramids. In between the two pyramids, the cortex enters deep inside to the medulla and forms a columns, those called renal columns, okay, and also called columns of Bertini. Columns of Bertini. Okay. Now coming to the pelvis. So this is the kidney, suppose. Kidney. So the opening. So here the portion is very much broad. A chamber is there. This is known as pelvis. Pelvis. In the pelvis, what happened? The urine is collected. So urine is collected here. Urine is collected in this portion, in the pelvis. Okay, and coming to the pelvis area, before coming to the pelvis area, we have discussed another one here, hilum. So the hilum is the space, the opening of the kidney is called hilum. Just to be discussed here. Once again, coming to the hilum. What is the functions of hilum here? Hilum receives, suppose if take this is are you able to see? Yes. Here heart, suppose heart is there here. From the heart, left ventricle, a aorta comes here, systemic aorta, aorta, and systemic aorta, when it is reaching the kidney area, it divides into two branches. Okay, this is known as a renal artery. Renal artery is okay. Means renal artery enters into the kidney, and before enters into the kidney, this renal artery then divides into some branches outside only. Some branches have like this. They divides into some branches. These branches are known as segmental arteries. When they enters inside the segmental arteries, they enters into the kidney, and they convert it into interlobular arteries. Interlobar artery. Changing the color. Okay, after this, they enters into the between the pyramids. They enters inside. Between the renal pyramid. They enters inside, deep inside. And then they convert it into accurate arteries. Accurate artery. Okay, accurate arteries, and these accurate arteries then enters into the cortex area, and then convert into interlobular artery. They convert into interlobular artery. And lastly, then they convert into the smallest branches here, and the smallest branches, these are known, the smallest branch, the smallest branches are known as here, they are known as afferent arteriole or arteriole. Afferent arteriole. So like that, the blood supply into the kidney through the hilum. So the renal artery enters into the hilum. Before enters into the hilum, it divides into some branches. Those are called segmental arteries. After entering into the kidney, they converted into interlobar arteries, and then accurate artery, and then interlobular arteries, and lastly they convert into smallest hair-like capillary-like structures. They are called afferent arterioles. These afferent arterioles, they make or prepare a glomerulus inside the Bowman's capsule of the nephron. We will discuss within the few minutes. So afferent arteriole is the ending part of the arteries, and then from the hilum, a vein also comes outside and attaches to the largest vein, which is coming from the down to the up, that's called vena cava, inferior vena cava. So renal vein enters into the inferior vena cava. So this is the largest vein coming down to up, inferior vena cava. Able to see this color? No. So this is known as inferior vena cava, and a renal vein opens into the inferior vena cava. Inferior vena cava. See here. So hilum gives the way to the renal artery, renal vein, and the ureter. So here ureter also comes out. So hilum is responsible for entry of the artery, exit of the vein, and outcoming of the pelvis extending portion, that is called ureter. And that ureter, both the ureters come down and opens into the urinary bladder, and from the urethra the urine comes outside. So here what we are discussing, internally there are two parts are there. Outer portion is called cortex and middle portion is called medulla. Medulla in the form of triangle shaped structures called renal pyramids. And these renal pyramids, in between these two renal pyramids, the cortex enters inside and makes a column, that is called columns of Bertini. And the hilum is responsible for the entry of the artery, exit of the vein, and also a ureter. Next, coming to the pelvis area, pelvis. Just now we discussed about the pelvis area. So this is the pelvis. So actually pelvis is opens into the this is called renal pyramids are there. Suppose here renal pyramids. Okay, renal pyramids. These are the renal pyramids. The medulla is in the form of renal pyramids. Okay, and this is columns of Bertini. Columns of Bertini, and here also a columns of Bertini like this, suppose. Okay, and the pelvis area, coming to the pelvis area, the pelvis so here suppose this is the pyramid, this is the renal pyramid, this is the apex of the renal pyramid. Here the pelvis makes like this, and then there is a renal columns of Bertini, and once again there is a like this structure, columns of Bertini, and then structure. So this structure covering the apex, the structure covering the apex, this is called renal papilla. This is called renal papilla. So this is the end portion, the apex of the triangle shaped renal pyramid. Okay, that the end portion is called renal papilla, and the pelvis area which is coming and attaching like a cup like structure here, this area is known as calyx. Okay, so after calyx, actually calyx is the starting point of the, means the immediately after the apex of the after the renal papilla, then there is a calyx, but this calyx is known as a minor calyx. It's called minor calyx. Okay. So what is the meaning of calyx here? This calyx and renal papilla, they receive they receive the collecting ducts. So all the collecting ducts of the nephron, they opens into the renal papilla, and this collectively forms a single collecting duct here, and all these collecting ducts of a single major collecting ducts here opens in this area, and that area is known as the minor calyx. And these tubes, once again, they forms into a larger portion, means from here the collecting ducts opens into the papilla and calyx. From the calyx they opens into the pelvis, like this. So in the pelvis they opens into a single tube. So this single tube is looks like a broad area, and this is known as a major calyx. This is called major calyx. So minor calyx and then major calyx, then the pelvis, and from the pelvis the urine comes outside, comes into the ureter. They comes into the ureters. So what I am telling here, the renal pyramids are in the triangle shape. So in the renal pyramids, the nephrons are present, and each nephron collecting tubule is present. So collecting tubule of the different nephrons, they opens into the renal papilla, and from the renal papilla they opens into the calyx. In the calyx, that area is known as the minor calyx, and then enters into the major calyx, and then the pelvis, and pelvis to the ureter, and then the urinary bladder and urethra. So this is the movement of the urine from the filtration part, that's called Bowman's capsule to Henle's loop, and then so this enters into the collecting duct. From the collecting tubule they enters into the renal papilla to the calyx. In the calyx, minor calyx first, and then the major calyx, okay, and pelvis, then to the ureter and urinary bladder and urethra. So this is the passage of urine from the collecting tubule to the up to the urethra. This is the way of the pathway of urine, how it is coming outside. Okay, so what we are discussing, the internal structure of the kidney we are discussing in the human beings. Right kidney is somewhat lower than the left kidney, and every kidney, if you cut open, the two portions are present. The two portions are known as outer portion is called cortex, and middle portion is called medulla. In the medulla is in the form of triangle shaped structures. Those are known as renal pyramids. So in the sections, the slides, we discussed all these things. Okay, and these renal pyramids, between the renal pyramids the cortex enters inside, and the cortex enters inside and forms the columns of Bertini, and then in the medulla, the triangle shaped medullary pyramids, okay, the apex part is known as the renal papilla, and then the calyx. Calyx is the covering of the pelvis. So pelvis covered to the apex. Pelvis covers to the apex of the renal pyramid, and that cap-like structure is known as calyx. Okay, clear. Next, what is present inside the kidney? So in the medullary region, the so many hair-like structures are present. These are known as nephrons. Nephrons are also known as structural and functional units of the kidney. So the structure of the kidney and function of the kidney by these nephrons only. So the kidney is made up of nephrons. How many are there? So approximately 1 million or 1.3 million nephrons. So more than 10 lakhs. Okay. So one kidney contains more than 10 lakhs of nephrons. Okay, nephrons are known as structural and functional units of the kidney. And coming to the weight of the kidney, we forgot now. Weight. The weight of the kidney is here 120 grams. 120 grams to the up to the 170 grams. 120 grams to 170 grams is the weight of the kidney. So what we discussed here, all the internal structure of the kidney we discussed. Now coming to the structure of nephron. Okay, and the study of kidney is known as nephrology, and the doctor deals with the kidney diseases and surgeries about the kidney is known as a nephrologist. Okay, we discuss later about that one. Okay, now coming to the structure of nephron, how a nephron is present in the kidney. So our topic now it is nephrons. So in the kidney, we take a kidney, medulla, this is cortex. Okay, each nephron is with Malphizian body, and second one is renal tubule. To understand this one, I am drawing a single nephron structure here. So Malphizian body means it is with two parts. Malphizian body is with two parts. One is a cup shaped structure, and another the afferent arteriole enters inside. And makes a filtering organ and leaves the nephron or Bowman's capsule outside. And here this filtering organ, red colored network of afferent arteriole, this is known as glomerulus. Red color is visible? Yes, glomerulus. This cup is known as Bowman's capsule. So here this blood vessel, just now we discussed the entry of the renal artery, segmental arteries, accurate arteries, okay, interlobular arteries, then the arterioles. This is the afferent arteriole. And leaving outside, this is the efferent arteriole. Remember, the diameter of the afferent arteriole is slightly larger and comparing to the efferent arteriole. So efferent arteriole tube size, the lumen size of the arteriole is somewhat less compared to the afferent arteriole. We'll discuss why like this. But now the structure of nephron. In the nephron, two parts are there. One is Malphizian body, second is renal tubule. Malphizian body means it is with two parts. One is Bowman's capsule, and second one is the glomerulus. So glomerulus and Bowman's capsule collectively known as Malphizian body. Then renal tubule. What is the renal tubule here? After Bowman's capsule, there is a tube. With more convolutions, okay, and this is known as proximal convoluted tubule, also known as simply PCT. And there is a peculiar hairpin loop-like structure, loop-like structure here, U-shaped structure. This is called a loop of Henle. loop of Henle. This is called a loop of Henle. Okay, and then after loop of Henle, another convoluted tubule is present. This is called after PCT. This is called DCT, distal convoluted tubule, DCT. Okay, and this DCT then opens into, then this is DCT, then opens into a collecting duct, This collecting duct opens into the apex or apex of the renal pyramid, and in the all these collecting tubules, that opens into a area that is called minor calyces, and from that they collectively forms a large tube that's called major pelvis, major calyces, and then they opens into the pelvis area. Okay, so this is the structure here, and coming to here in the kidney, how this nephron is arranged in the kidney. Now we'll discuss how these nephrons are arranged in the kidneys. So in the cortex, so major portion of the nephron is located in the cortex area. So major portion present in the cortex area, major portion. So here suppose a kidney, a nephron is looks like this. Suppose this is the Bowman's capsule. This is a proximal convoluted tubule. Yes. Okay, and then there is the Henle's loop. There is a Henle's loop, and then the distal convoluted tubule. This tubule opens into a duct. This is called collecting tubule or collecting duct. So here the major portion here, and then the afferent arteriole enters inside and make a glomerulus and comes outside. So this is the structure of nephron. This is the one type of arrangement, or this is one type of arrangement. So here, basing on the arrangement of or location of the nephrons, nephrons are of two types. One is the nephrons which are present, in the cortex area. They are known as cortical nephrons. So the Bowman's capsule, PCT and DCT present in the cortex area, but the Henle's loop somewhat they enters into the medulla. So medulla is contains the loop of Henle. So all loop of Henle's are present inside the medulla. Okay, and some of the nephrons are like this. Bowman's capsule, PCT, and then like this. Means the Henle's loops are deep into the medulla, deep inside the medulla. These type of nephrons are known as juxtamedullary nephrons. Juxtamedullary nephrons. So they are known as juxtamedullary nephrons. So nephrons are two types: cortical nephrons and juxtamedullary nephrons. Okay. So this is the arrangement of nephrons inside the kidney. Like this, all the nephrons are present in the kidney. They are approximately more than 10 lakhs, means 1.3 million, 1.3 to 1.5 million nephrons are present in the single kidney, and these are arranged in the two locations. One is cortical nephrons, and second one is deep into the medulla, the Henle's loop deeply present inside the medulla region, so called juxtamedullary nephrons, and each nephron contains here these parts are present here. Malfusion body means the Bowman's, the cup shaped Bowman's capsule, and in the middle there is a filtering organ that is called ultrafiltration takes place by the glomerulus. So glomerulus is responsible for the ultrafiltration of the blood, and the after filtration the filtrate, the primary urine filter enters into the Bowman's capsule cup, and from that they enters into the PCT and then Henle's loop and then DCT. So at the in the DCT the urine is concentrated, and the concentrated urine then enters into the collecting duct and then to the apex and minor calyx and major calyx and the pelvis. So this is the, and coming to renal tubule here, renal tubule means PCT, Henle's loop, DCT, collectively called renal tubule. So this is the structure of a nephron. So what we discussed in this class, the human excretory system we discussed. Okay, in the human excretory system, there are one pair of kidneys, one pair of ureters, and single urinary bladder and single urethra are present. Okay, and the kidneys, the structure of the kidney, the color, shape, weight, okay, and size, and all we discussed in this class. And also the cut section, that's called vertical section of the kidney, shows the two portions, outer cortex and medulla. Medulla is in the form of triangular shaped medullary or renal pyramids, and between the pyramids there are columns of Bertini, and then apex of the apex of the medullary pyramids are known as renal papilla, and then there is a calyx, okay, and then pelvis, hilum, and the artery entering into the kidney, that's called renal artery. Before entering into the kidney, they divides into number of branches, those are called segmental arteries. And the segmental artery enters into the inside, and they converted into then the interlobar arteries, and then they convert into accurate artery, and then the after accurate artery they enters deep inside, and then they convert into the interlobular arteries, and then arterioles. In that arteriole, one is afferent arteriole and second one is efferent arteriole. And tomorrow session we will discuss about the formation of urine. So this is the structure of kidneys and internal structure of the kidney. Tomorrow live session 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. Today Sunday, so somewhat early we have taken this session. Okay, tomorrow and at same time 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. we will take 1 hour session, live session, and come and join these sessions. Okay, and if you are joining and it gives me encourage, and then I will take so many live sessions. Okay, and like, share and subscribe my channel if you are like this lecture on the human excretory system. Please like, share and subscribe my channel. And also we have our own app is present, that is the Kumar Institute of Zoology. And if you want to purchase the courses in the Kumar Institute of Zoology app, and go through the app and download the app and then select your interest course. Okay, we are stopping here. Thanks for watching. Like, share and subscribe my channel. Don't forget like and also comment. So how is my lecture and how is my teaching? Okay, and you can comment, you can negative or positive, both are acceptable, no problem. You can comment my lecture, and like, share and subscribe, and thanks.